Oh man, so for this one, we got threats at work. We have walking away, trying to clear the area and the situation, and somebody deciding to make good on said threats, and then finding out real quick. So we have here in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm going to dust your, and then followed by an expletive. No charges filed in shooter at Greenfield Amazon facility after prosecutor rules self-defense. Man, I love to hear it. December 13th, 2024, Isaac Riley, 39, was shot and killed at 1:45 a.m. at the West 200 North facility in Cumberland. So we have Indianapolis. No charges were filed in the shooter at the Greenfield Amazon facility after prosecutors ruled self-defense. Again, on December 13th, 2024, Isaac Riley of Indianapolis was shot and killed around 1:45 a.m. at the Cumberland facility. According to the press release, Hancock County prosecutor Brent Eaton, the identity of the shooter is not being released since there's no criminal charges were filed, which is fantastic. Protect the identity. The investigation revealed that the shooter worked at the Amazon and was at work during the scheduled work hours, and Riley was also worked at the Amazon, but was not scheduled to work at that day, the release said. So it seems like he kind of came in on his day off, or came there for special reasons. The release said Riley stated in the confrontation with the shooter in the break room. During the confrontation, Riley said to the shooter that if you go outside, I'm gonna dust your, followed by that expletive. The shooter then left the Amazon and tried to disengage from the confrontation. The release said while the shooter was waiting for his ride to leave the Amazon facility, Riley followed. So that's one thing that I'm like, okay, it's good that he left and tried to disengage from the situation. I don't know if I would have just gone outside, because that's where Riley said he was going to do what he was going to do. Maybe hang out inside where cameras are a little more visible, or there's other people around while you wait for the ride. I'm not necessarily sure how the Amazon facility works as far as where you're allowed to wait after you're clocked off. And there's no reason that the person who's defended himself should have to change his daily habits or what he does in order to appease this Riley guy. The release said Riley aggressively closed the distance on the shooter, creating a fear of injury to the shooter. The shooter then drew his gun, and Riley said, "I ain't worried about no gun," then continued to charge the shooter at reaching into his pants as if he were also to draw a gun, the release said. The shooter ended up firing 3 shots at Riley, killing him. The shooter then put his gun on the ground and waited for police to show up. Great idea, end the situation, stop any sort of aggression, and then immediately make the scene safe, put the gun on the ground, and wait. Not running away like we've seen in some other cases recently, which were interesting. The Indiana Self-Defense Statute, IC 35-41-2-3, states, in part, a person is justified in using deadly force and does not have a duty to retreat, fantastic, if the person reasonably believes that the force is necessary to prevent serious bodily injury to the person. No person, employee, or estate of a person in the state shall be placed in legal jeopardy of any kind whatsoever for protecting the person or the third party by reasonable means necessary. So, I mean, that kind of protects him as an employee, and it protects the employer, that little last part. But it's great that Indiana doesn't necessarily have a duty retreat like you do see in, like, Illinois or New Jersey. New Jersey is pretty crazy as far as, like, what you actually have to do to be able to have a justifiable shoot. You pretty much have to be backed up into a closet. It seems, at least from what I've gathered from reading and hearing from other people. Whereas here it seems that you just have to really feel like your life was threatened, which the shooter did have. He was threatened by Riley while in the break room. And then Riley seemingly was making good on said threats by closing the distance rather fast and reaching for what appeared to be his own firearm. Given the totality of the evidence in this case, it is clear that the unnamed shooter made multiple attempts to disengage from Riley. It is also clear that the time of the shooting, the unnamed shooter had reason to believe that force was necessary to prevent serious bodily injury to himself from Riley, Eaton said. Therefore, Illinois Clause 35-41-3-2 on its face is clear defense to any potential charges against the armed shooter. For that reason, there will be no charges filed against him in this case. I think that's a fantastic ruling. There's no reason that you should have to go to work and fear that one of your fellow employees is going to take action against you that could cause severe bodily harm or otherwise. There's no reason to be threatening your coworkers at work for any reason, really, at all. The only reason I could see a threat is if the threat's made against you, which wouldn't necessarily be a threat. It would be just letting them know that they can't do that. Yeah, it seems like this shooter definitely did the right thing, and of course the state is seeing it that way as well. He was threatened, followed after trying to disengage, and then only took action when it really felt like it was necessary as the distance was being closed upon him. I think this was a great shoot back on December 13th of 24 last year. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Get into those comments. Do you think this was justified self-defense? Do you think maybe he should have not had his firearm at work? What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comments. If you found value with this and want to hear more stories related to the Second Amendment from a self-defense perspective, smash that like button and subscribe to Armed Culture. My name's Steven, bringing you said stories, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.